talking about the 411. And some of you are probably like, yes, great. And others were like, I have no idea what a 411 is. And that's totally okay, no matter what side of the spectrum. And other people may have been like, she's talking about that again. I hate writing down what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's an integral part of your business. It's good to get in the habit of it. Today is the 27th of January, which means we're getting ready to hop into February. So we should be looking at what our February goals are, putting those in place, and then putting together our 411. So at the beginning of, or the end of last year, we talked about a lead gen GPS. So a GPS is your goal priority strategy. And this is kind of where you want to start in order to implement your 411. Your 411 is you have one goal. It's one month, one goal, and then your 4 weeks of the month basically is what it's broken down to. So, like, here's my GPS for 2022. It's 48 closings. My priorities are my Met database, lead gen, and social media. And then here's what I'm planning to do, my strategies to meet that priority, and then how many closings I'm anticipating from each strategy, right? So this is a little different than like your annual GPS, because this one's lead gen based, but it's all going to be the same idea. Okay. So I'm going to reevaluate this and look at this and be like, hold on just a second. Let me see if I have my other. I'm going to copy and, I'm not going to copy and paste. Never mind. That's not going to work. All right, give me just a second. All right, so this is for the whole year, right? So the whole year, I want 48 closings. This is where my focus and my strategies are. So now when I look at like coming up on February, I'm going to look at this and be like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start or what I should do next. Like, I know I want to get to that many closings and I know I'm going to talk about these strategies, but what's my next step in order to move forward? So in order to do that, we would say, hey, okay, so for February, right? And then you'd say for February, what's my goal? So I'm just, so my goal for February, right? If I had 48 closings, let's say I only had 3 closings in January, and I needed 4 closings a month in order to obtain 48 closings. So for February, I need 5+ closings, right? And ultimately, here's the deal. I really should change it. For February, I need to put 5+ under contract, right? So what's under contract for January is what's going to close in February. And what I'm putting in contract for February is what's going to close in March. So I'm technically already behind if I don't have the right ones in contract. So let's say that I need to put, I have 3 scheduled to close in January. I have 3 scheduled to close in February that I put into contract in January. So ultimately in February now, I'm working on my March closings. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Okay, hold on. See if I can. Oh. Okay, hold on. I just got to build out my sheet a little bit so I don't delete everything below it. All right, so now I'm going to copy and paste. Oh, fail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so at the beginning of each month or the end of the previous month, I want to look forward for what my goals are for this coming month. So, and then you're going to break it into weeks, which I can't do right now, but that's okay because it's not, my spreadsheet's not set up for that. And I'm not going to go in there and tweak it all right now. I'll fix it later. So my goal for February is 6 under contract. So this is going to be week 1. Oops, week exclamation point. Okay. What am I going to do the first week of February in order to drive my business to 6 under contract? So I'm going to reference back to my GPS. Where am I supposed to be this year? Where is my focus and what am I doing? So I have in my Met database, my 555. In January, I made sure that all of my clients in my database were on a 555 plan. So I don't really have to focus on that anymore. I just have to do my tasks. So as those tasks pop up in command, I just have to execute those tasks. So I'm kind of done with this right now as far as executing any items from that.
Amy, on that, can I ask how many, you know, like you could do like a bulk to adding a smart plan and how it's like, it allows it to be staggered. How many would you recommend to stagger? I mean, like ultimately the sky's the limit, but what would you recommend?
Yeah, so ultimately what we did was we took the 555 repeats every quarter. So that's every 3 months. Yeah, every 3 months it repeats, right? So I took the total number of contacts in my database divided by 90 days, and that's how many I assigned to each day.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
I thought the 555 was where it was touching every single month in some form or way.
It is touching every single month, but it repeats every quarter. So
okay.
It's a phone call the first month, it's, you know, a social media the second month, and then a text the third month, and then it repeats with a phone call and then social media and then text or whatever.
Perfect. So take your number and divide it by 90, basically, that's in your database, and that should be kind of a safe number.
Yep. And then you can go in there and bulk apply it with assigned to 5 people per day. Now, if you wanted to skip weekends and stuff, then you may just want it to go in there and physically do it. Add certain number of people each day. So just kind of keep that in mind. Because if you're not making phone calls on Saturday and Sunday, then you're going to end up with past due tasks. Come Monday, you're going to have 15 people potentially to call or whoever come Monday, because it assigns people over the weekends.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
If you don't like red, you may not want to do that.
Yes.
Red doesn't scare me. Oh, no. So that's kind of like, at this point, that's hands off. I just have to execute my task for that. But now I'm going to go down to my next thing, my Met database, because ultimately I really truly want to focus in on this. So in my Met database, my non-face-to-face touches, email newsletters, CMA reports, mail outs. What do I need to do this month that I haven't put into place yet so that I'm executing that non-face-to-face? So I'm going to say, hey, for my non-face-to-face, I need to do my recipe card. And we're gonna February. And because I'm gonna be in there, I'm gonna recipe card mail out. We're gonna plan remaining months, so that I know exactly which one's going to go out each month, right? So I'm going to execute the February mail out and I'm going to set it up. Now I could continue like working down these items, but I'm going to say, well, I want to dig into my Met database, but I also want to make sure that I'm doing my lead gen. So what else do I need to be doing over here in lead gen in order to continue to move those forward? Like what inside of agent referrals do I need to do? So maybe I'm going to identify 5 new referral partners. And then I'm going to look at my social media and I'm going to say, oh, Facebook and YouTube, I'm supposed to be generating leads from those. Good news is Facebook, I already have 2 of 3. So I'm going to say I'm not very good at posting on my business page. So I'm going to implement a
question on your Facebook leads. Just being curious. Are they people that you already know or were they randoms?
They were people that I already knew. Although one of them I only know on Facebook.
Okay. I find Facebook to be hard sometimes, so that's what I'm asking.
So everybody should, if social media is not your thing, do what you do. Like some people don't do Facebook, some people do Instagram or Twilio, or not Twilio. What's the one? TikTok or Snapchat. Melissa's laughing at me. I'm old, people. I'm old. All right.
MySpace.
I have MySpace.
MySpace is
I'm
just
gonna go back
old.
and start lead genning on MySpace.
Yeah.
It's gonna be gold. It's like the golden letter. No.
Right? Those are my people. No. All right. You could probably lead gen by making posts on Facebook about MySpace. And anyway. So I'm going to implement a posting schedule on my business page. Okay. So that's all I'm going to do this week with regards to lead gen on my week 1. Those are my things. And I'm going to work on the top and work my way down that list. Does that make sense to everybody? It should be prioritized. So I'm not going to move on to planning the remaining months of recipe mail out cards until I've actually mailed out February's. Okay. I'm not going to identify 5 new referral partners until I've completed the postcards. Okay. At the end of the first week of February, I'm going to come back. I'm going to look at this and say, I knocked out all 4 items on my list. I now have permission to move on. So week two, what am I going to do week 2? Right? So at the end of week 1. So this should be a reoccurring thing each and every week. At the end of each week or the very beginning of the week, you're going to sit down and look at your GPS and your 411, and you're going to fill out your action plan for the next week. Okay. And then at the end of each month, you're going to reevaluate and put together your plan for the next month. And this goes for, like, this is a lead gen GPS. This would go for your regular GPS. This would go for if you have a personal GPS for like health and fitness or family relationships or financial GPS for 2022, right? You can apply this to any area, and then you can sit down and nail down what you need to do each week in order to accomplish and work towards those goals in each and every area. It does not need to be specific to business. I mean, you should have one specific to business and you should have one specific to your actual business, not just lead gen, but you can move on beyond that as well and help this to kind of guide your entire life with this setup and this strategy. And it's a fabulous way to operate because it causes you each and every month to go back and reevaluate where you're at and look at where you're going and then plan week by week what you need to do in order to move towards your goal. Okay. At the end of every quarter, every 12 weeks, right? So at the end of March, I'm going to go back and reevaluate. This is actually already changed a little bit, but I'm going to go back and reevaluate the number of closings. How am I doing? How am I doing on closings versus to goal? Did my life change in a way that's going to cause that to need to be altered? Do I need to increase it? Do I need to decrease it? Is my average sales price higher than what I planned? And so my GCI is higher than where I needed to be with 48 closings, where I can reduce that number down. Is my GCI lower than what I thought it was going to be, where I need to increase that number, right? So we are going to reevaluate it every 12 weeks as a big picture. Questions? Ahas.
We have where are these? This GPS 411 spreadsheet, is this something that you've already put in our package, our training package?
It is. So it is. Hold on. I'll open it up and find it. you can do it.
Mhm.
All right, I think it's under GPS.
Oh, it's just GPS.
So this GPS complete is the one that's in the PC Peeps folder.
Okay.
And it allows
So
you to
this is
set up like your 3-year goal, your 2020, oh, this would be 2020.
Okay.
To now your priorities for that.
2022 goals, strategies. Go. So you were just operating under the 2022 goal, the other bullet or the other categories down below.
Yep, so I have, the one that you were looking at was specifically for lead gen, so I don't have like a 3-year lead gen goal, it just lead gen falls underneath my normal GPS that I have for my
Okay.
life. So yeah, so you would have ultimately, like, you're kind of looking for like, where do I want to be in 3 years, or where do I want to be in 5 years? And then where do I need to be today in order to move towards that goal? And then this is kind of where that lead gen picked up, where it had 48 closings here. And then my priorities for reaching that 2022 goal. And then this would be where your strategies go. And then this would be like your 12-week goal. So maybe we're going to break this down to a 12-week goal, which would then be this would be the February goal. And then your weekly action items. And this one just has it broken down so that basically it would be like this one. Is just going across. So you would have your, oh, don't merge the whole thing. Oh, yes, do that. So week 1, right? So it's just broken down like that. And then week 2, I would come in and I would write over these things. I would leave the things on. So let's say on week 2 in February, I look at my list and I go, oh, well, I mailed out my February recipe card. So maybe I'm going to move that over here as items done. And I figured out the rest of my recipe cards for the year, but maybe I didn't do these other 2 things. So now I'm going to bring those up on my list. Oops. That was evil. And then I might add a couple things. So because I didn't do those 2 tasks, I didn't earn the right to move on to something new. I can still add like a couple more things to my task list for this week, but I still need to take care of these things that I failed to complete the week before, which is why we don't sit down at the beginning of the month and go, week 1, I'm going to do this, and week 2, I'm going to do that, and week 3, I'm going to do that, and week 4, I'm going to do that, because we haven't earned the right to plan week 2 until we complete week 1. So that's under your GPS complete. Any other questions, ahas, thoughts?
My aha is I have to be more disciplined with not allowing myself to move forward with things that I didn't complete in the week of. Like, even if I didn't complete something this week, I'll still move over until my next week, but I need to remind myself that I didn't earn the right to move forward. So I have to tie up all the loose ends.
You gotta finish the week. Yep.
And each week,
Go ahead.
and you're only pretty much pinpointing the week that you're currently in at that moment, right? So you're just in week 2, you're just putting in week 2's information, and you're looking at week 2, you're applying yourself to week 2, and then when week 3 comes, you change your headline to week 3, and you move everything to week 3. So you're just looking at each week. You're saying you're not, at the end of the month, you're not going to have week 1, 2, 3, 4. You're not going to have all those weeks on your GPS, right? You're going to as the weeks go on, you erase that week and then you go to another week, and that's how you're operating this thing.
Yeah, so you can do it. You can do it any way you want, but most importantly is you don't want to plan the all 4 weeks in advance. But you could break it down and have 4 columns here for week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And as you complete the items on week 1, you could be scratching those off and then putting the new items in week 2 so that you know what you're focused on. So it just depends how you like to look at the list and what you want to accomplish. For most of mine, I have a little section for my completed tasks so that I can go back and look what I've accomplished that year and what I've done and how successful was it. So I move the completed tasks off to the side or someplace like that so that the things I still need to complete are on the list, which is why, like, when you look at this one here, it just has one line at the bottom, because I would just be filling in whatever my weekly action items are for that next week. There we go. And then my completed items at the end of the week, I would move down to a separate list so that I can keep track of those things. But the only thing that I'm seeing and focusing on are the things that I need to do. And at the end of week 1, I'm going to put my week 2 items there. And it may, like Milo was saying, it may need to be items from week 1 still, because I didn't finish them. So I don't have permission to move on. When I first started doing this, well, for like a solid 4 years of doing this, I would do all 4 weeks at once. I would sit down at the beginning of the month and plan out my whole month. Here's what I need to do each week. And then when I started working with my coach, she was like, she was very political in how she did it. She didn't say I couldn't do it that way. She just let me like do it. And then she'd ask me questions and like make me think about things until finally I came to the realization myself that I probably shouldn't, because she'd be like, well, what happened to the things last week that you didn't do? And I'd be like, well, I've moved on. I didn't do them because I don't want to. Right? They didn't sound like fun, and I wanted to move on to the fun things in week 2. So that's what I did. And then at some point I reached the realization that, oh, so what you're saying is that I shouldn't even plan week 2 until I finished week 1 and given myself permission by completing those items to move on to the week 2. And she was like, yeah, so that's what I've been saying for like a year now. She goes, I just needed you to come to that realization yourself. And I was like, oh, that makes sense, because I'm always leaving like this trail of breadcrumbs of undone tasks because they weren't fun. And who wants to do the unfun stuff, right? Thank you, Mila.
That's me.
Thanks for helping us not learn the hard way. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. You're welcome. I mean, you still might try to learn the hard way, and that's okay. I tried for a minute, but it's all right. I'll support you through it.
That's been the last 6 months, so I'm done with that.
So yeah, so right. This goes back to that same thing that we were talking about several weeks ago when we were talking about lead gen and like online leads versus not. And well, have you even dug into your database? Well, let's look at it from the portion of, well, if you haven't done your database, you haven't put people in the command, or you're not got everybody on like a 555 or a DTD2, you haven't earned the right to find the new lead gen method because you haven't completed the one that you were supposed to do first. Right? It all circles back to that.
So on my GPS, I got a lot of database digging to do.
You got a lot of database digging to do
before I can start, applying some of these other goals and strategies.
Yep.
But I do have other things that I could put on there, right? Like for my photos, I plan on taking my photo sheets this Saturday, and you could put other stuff on there, right? Other goals,
absolutely.
for branding, material marketing.
Yep. So that GPS that we had looked at that I used as the example, again, was truly just a lead gen focused GPS, where, you know, my real GPS for the year has multiple things on it. So in my priorities, it might be like update, or it may be like marketing there. And under marketing, it may be like get a new headshot, update marketing material. So my strategy for this week might be get a new headshot so I can update my marketing material. So your priorities are going to look a little different on a full GPS than they do on a lead gen GPS. This kind of is a little bit more focused, but yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Okay. You can as well, just something to think about, like you could sit down and you could brainstorm at the beginning of the year. Okay, well, on my 5-5-5, what do I need to do for that to look like done? Or what are the steps I need to take this coming year for that 5-5-5? And I could break it down further. I could have like sub little lines there. And then I would know that right here, I could just copy and paste whatever 1 or 2 items is to get that done down here on my week's to-do list. So you could plan it out, like all the things you need to do. Like if I'm looking at social media, Facebook, okay, well, how am I going to generate leads through Facebook? Well, here's my 20 things I need to do to generate leads through Facebook. So now as I'm sitting down to do my 411 for February, I can pull like a priority off each one or however I want to work that so that I'm continually working towards the end goal. Okay.
Okay.
So now you get to work on this today or tomorrow. Get it done
And
this
these
week.
templates, so each template I can change the heading, right? So this is my lead. I have my lead gen templates, and then if it was a personal one, you just change it at the top.
Yep.
There, or does they all say lead gen?
Nope.
You
can
actually
change
written that, wrote that in, huh?
I wrote that in.
Okay. So it's just the template is just the 22 goals, your actions, your got you.
Yeah. So like I have like a
what I
lead
do
gen
is-
GPS. I have my regular, just plain business GPS. I have an Idaho GPS. I've got a PC GPS.
And all those templates came from this same one here.
Yep.
Okay.
It's all basically the same. It just, your goal might look different. So my main GPS encompasses it all. And then my little GPSs kind of break it down into almost like the priorities.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody need anything before we hop off today?
I had a question in regards to yesterday's thing, how we were doing, pulling all our numbers. So when I was pulling the numbers from the main spot, it gave me, like I think I was using Fairfield. I filtered Fairfield. And so then I checked the boxes for new, pending, contingent, and closed. And so then I was taking all those numbers, blah, blah, blah. Well, then when I did that, like where it gave the sheet, the numbers didn't match up. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I'm reading each one wrong or something. I don't know. I was very confused.
So, all right. So did you pull the first one from trends?
No, I did. Hold on.
So you're just doing the hot sheet.
Yeah, I did the hot sheet. Yeah. So I did the hot sheet. And then I went in there and I changed the dates, and I was just doing, the week before. So really,
Okay.
So whatever date that was.
I have a question when you're done with this.
All right. And so Melissa, what wasn't matching up?
So when I'm trying to get into that
All right.
part. So, why did it erase my date? So didn't put enough numbers and things sensitive. Let's see, 2 and 12.
You can also, if you come down to the homepage on recent searches, you should be able to pull up that last hot sheet search that you did.
And where was that?
So it should be on your homepage. There
Now that
should
I'm-
be a box somewhere that has recent searches.
Okay.
And if you go to recent searches, it'll pull them up in order of whatever you did last.
Let's see, recent searches. Okay, and look at that. That's a cool feature. Okay, so and then just press view criteria.
Yeah, you can hit view criteria, just click on it. It'll pull up the page, and then you can always go revise or whatever.
Mine just gives me the option to close the window. It's always difficult. Well, I guess I can tell you. So it was from the dates of the 119 through the 125. And then I
Okay.
had new listings, contingent, pending, closed properties for just Fairfield.
Okay.
So,
So with the hot sheet,
mhm.
because you're doing a history, right? So if we went back to the 19th and then to the 26th, and we did 12:01 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. And then we wanted like Fairfield.
So like how you have it right now, if you do, you see how the preview count was at 34.
Uh-huh.
And then, but like when once I clicked all the boxes, you know, like I went through each one. So I was like writing down, okay, 34. And then I, you know, changed the box to the contingent and pending. And I saw whatever number that was, wrote it down. And then when I got to the next page, I'm like, this is not matching up.
Yeah.
Like,
So it won't add up, right?
Okay.
Because some things that are new listings also are already under contract. So they're going to
Oh.
double count, right? So it may be new. So if I look at these 34 new listings that came on the market last week, so those are just any house that's not active listings, it's just homes that came on the market last week.
Okay.
If I can get it to come up, it's like, I will not pull those numbers for you. So if we look at these, see, you've got some that are contingent and pending already.
Got
So
it.
these are going to be double counted. So if you pull them
Ooh.
all up, it's going to be a smaller number than pulling them each individually.
Ah, okay. So then this would be the route. Like, so you'd want to just do that, click and then go and take the number from the report, not the number going individually like I was doing.
I would probably do individual. So like if I were going to put a graphic together, I would put, there were 34 new listings on the market last week. And then I would go back and I would go, contingent and pending for last week, and contingents and pendings for last week are going to include not just the new listings that came on last week, but ones that have been listed previous weeks that also went into contract. So anything that went into contract last week is going to show up here. So you're going to say there's 34 properties that went under contract last week, and then you'd come back and look at closed and be like, there were 25 listings that closed, or 25 closed sales last week.
Got it. And then from the sheet after this, what was the main thing then? Was that just taking the average or the, you know what I mean? Was that like, that was the main takeaway from that sheet to put on?
Yeah. So, so the trends just allows you to go back by month.
Okay. No, not the trends, like
so-
from here.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
next-
So if I was looking at closed sales, you could pull them all. So we could look at, well, what closed last week, what went under contract, and what did that. If we looked at that, it's going to give us the summary for, I don't know why my view results button isn't working today, but we'll just pretend it is. So from here, if we went to statistics, make sure I hit the wrong box. This is going to give me the stats for any of the properties that went active, pending, under contract. So as you're looking at these numbers, just know it takes all that into account. And this is closed price. So this is your average closed price. It's only looking at the closed sales for last week.
Got it. Okay.
Versus all of them, the original price. So this is going to look at the original listing price there. And so, but it's looking at the original listing price for anything that's active, anything that's contingent, and anything that closed.
Got it.
Versus this one's just looking at closed. So it just depends what stats you want to show and how you want to do that. So I would probably look at, for like an average original price, I would probably look at like the active listings, or there's just the closed, so that you're comparing the original price to the closed price on just the closed listings.
Got it. Okay.
So I probably wouldn't check them all on this one. I have them all checked, but I would probably just go back and do the closed. Like, here's the average list price, or you could look at just active properties. So you could go back and do a standard search and look at just active properties for like currently, and figure out what the average price is for those. So you could be like the average closed sale, the average listing closed sold at 725,831. And then you would go back and do just a regular standard search for residential properties, active properties in Fairfield.
Because this would give what's currently then.
What's currently
you'd
active
put-
on the market,
Got it. Okay.
if I could spell Fairfield. And then because we can do the same thing from a standard search. So we could go standard search and hit all of them and then go stats. And now we're looking at the active properties on the market right now. Our average active property price is 937,000.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Somehow I got lost between, I was trying to create it, got this little template thing and I'm all, well, crap. So
Yeah,
thank you for clarifying that.
yeah, absolutely. Days on market, I would probably take only from closed.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
Because
Good to
that's the finalized, like, hey, it was active, it went in the contract and here's closed. I'd probably look at what was closed under that, the hot sheet search.
know. Okay. Got it. For average day on market. Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise they're not finished. The active properties, the contingents, like they're not finished counting days yet.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. Somebody else had a question.
Me.
I was like, I think it's Sam. I think it was Ramiro, but I can't remember.
Yeah, exactly. If I go and pull up information on berries,
Uh-huh.
am I allowed, because I'm thinking, I'm trying to do videos, don't laugh. But if I show information on berries, is that okay? Like homes for sale or am I allowed to show that? Because they're not my listings, but it is through berries. So does that make sense?
Yeah, so if you're on your video, if you're going to pinpoint specific listings, you would just
can't do-
want permission, bless you, Heather, for those specific agents for those listings.
Okay, then not that then, but maybe if I just show like the stats or they can see all the listings that have popped up or the coming soons.
Yep,
Do I need permission for that?
no.
No, just if I go into it and I show the property, I would
you
need
show the
permission.
properties, yeah.
Okay, but the listing and like what we see is okay because that's
The
kind of
list-
our information.
Yep, the list and the stats, in fact, like that trends page, like the graphs and stuff, you can actually share those to your website and stuff. So any of that stuff, any of this, like you could have this pulled up and showing, or the list of homes that are active on the market. You can absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question? It's Ramiro, right? Did I say that?
That's my husband's name.
Oh. Okay.
I'm Samantha. I don't know. I had to change it for my son because my son's name is Romero as well. And then I wasn't able to change it back.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Samantha. So let me ask, are you saying that you're trying to make videos with yourself, like screen recording, where the video is you doing the work on the computer? Is that, am I understanding you correctly?
I am doing YouTube videos. I'm
Yeah.
trying to. I've done a
Okay.
couple. And I edit it and do everything myself.
Oh, okay. So my question is, are you showing on the video that you're producing, are you showing like a screen recording of you going into the Berry's website?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, what I was thinking of doing was trying to do like a, like, let's talk Thursday kind of a thing and talk about what's happening in the market, what homes are coming on, what's going contingent and sold, and just kind of showing screenshots. I wasn't gonna physically show them how to get into it. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, it was. Okay, perfect. I was just curious. Thank you. Sorry, I'm being
No, of course.
nosy.
All right, fabulous. I'm gonna close up for today. It's Thursday, so I'll see you all back on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we'll talk about setting up showings, using showing time, kind of doing all that, showing etiquette. How's that?
Thank
Do you have a
you.
call right now after this, or could I ask you a question after this, call you?
You can call me.
Thanks, Amy.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Amy.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.